Should Odell be making plays instead? Yeah, you know he needs the quarterback to throw him the ball. The reason Saquon Barkley looks so incredible right now is he doesn't need the quarterback to throw him the ball. Saquon can do it all by himself, even behind a bad line. Odell does need someone to get him the ball. So, yeah, like, is it better if Odell is putting up better numbers right now and not talking as much? Sure, that's ideal. That's Saquon Barkley, right? But I'd rather have Odell right now than Eli. I'd rather have the guy who can play and is chirping a little bit than the guy who doesn't say anything and can't play.
It is interesting that he's averaging the fewest yards of any of his seasons, though, Odell Beckham.
He's coming back off injury, and it's possible that he's not all the way back. It's also possible, it's also certain that he doesn't have a good quarterback throwing him the ball. I've defended Eli, Stephen A., for years, even going into this year. Tooth and nail defended him. You cannot, everyone can defend him. The opposing defenses can defend him just fine. But critics can no longer defend Eli's play. He's cooked. Odell is a great player in his prime. He is not the problem with the Giants.
Both of you and I are parents. So I'm going to say something to you that you may not have thought about. And I'm going to dare you to refute what I'm about to say as a parent. And I don't mean to imply that Odell Beckham Jr. is John Mara's child. But listen to where I'm going. You have the right to be wrong, as long as what you're talking about is in the best interest of the collective whole. As a parent, do you agree with that when it comes to you kids?
I do.
So do I. Now let me go there. John Mara is the owner for the New York Giants. He has a culture that he wants. It's his organization. You are Odell Beckham Jr. You want the money. You've been harping and chirping about the money. You made some transgressions in terms of your behavior in the past that gave the Giants cause to pause. They had a discussion with you. What does this man do? He comes out and he guarantees you an amount of money that makes you the highest paid receiver in NFL history. In history. And all you have on your resume is one playoff performance. And we've never won anything with you.
And you dropped all the balls because you hung out in Miami.
But I know how great you are as a talent. I give you the money. But before I give you the money, I huddle with you. I talk to you about the Giants culture. I talk to you about the way we do things. I recognize the frustrations because this ain't the first time John Mara has heard a complaint about Eli Manning. You got to remember, McAdoo and Reese went to Mara for permission to bench Eli Manning last year. They didn't do that, they didn't do that. They didn't make a unilateral decision. They went to the boss, okay? So he is not surprised by the complaints that have transpired about Eli or anybody else. What he said was, we have a culture and a way of doing things. Don't betray that.
Okay.
And so when I listened to him, yesterday, all I'm saying to you and everybody else, I did not see a man talking about football. I saw a man talking about his brand that he owns, and he lived up to his end of the bargain. He lived up to his end of the bargain by making you the highest paid receiver in football. And he's saying, and this is what I get.
Look, what you said,
is that wrong?
What you said is right about parents having the right to be wrong if the best interests of the family are in mind.
Okay, so the best interest of the child. But
that doesn't mean they're right.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's coming from the right place, they can still be wrong. Even if Mara here is coming from the right place, he's still wrong. Now, and he's responsible for the state of the team.
But here's where I'm going. I'm asking this question. Does that child, using the parent analogy,
of course.
Does that child just then have the right to say, kick rocks because you're wrong?
No, but Odell's not telling him to kick rocks. This is what I'll say.
Well, he did. To him, he did.
Max,
Let me
when
answer
he
this.
pays him,
Yep.
he should be held to a higher standard,
Okay,
correct?
Yes, and I will. Let's extend the family metaphor.
Sure.
I have three kids, right?
Sure, I have two. Go ahead.
And Mara here has three in a sense.
That's
like
right.
Kids who work on the team.
Right.
Eli, Saquon, and Odell. Those are the three big stars of the team, right? The reason the culture on the Giants is broken is because the quarterback, who needs to be a leader, is such a bad player right now that everybody knows it. It's impossible to lead from that position. So, what do I tell my eldest, Esther? when she thinks I'm being too hard on her, right? Odell Beckham, he just got paid, right? I tell her, you're the oldest. I expect more from you. I understand that point of view. Ideally, Odell is Saquon Barkley, right? But he's not. So it's not that he doesn't deserve some criticism. It's that Mara
he
is
needs to be. That's what he's saying.
Hold on. What I'm saying is this. Max, you act as if Odell Beckham Jr. said something privately and it got out. John Mara is challenging his willingness to articulate and elocute his thoughts publicly at the expense of everyone else. When we signed you to your contract, there were questionable things about you, meaning Odell Beckham Jr. We didn't tell everybody everything. The public and the media don't know everything about you that we know, but we covered you. So we understand your frustration, but what happened to covering us? I think the owner has the right to say that.
I want to hear what you have to say.
Mara, he's not wrong in the sense that, Odell, there's a better way to handle this.
Okay.
The problem is, and your point is well taken about the parent has a right to be wrong, but here we have a wrong parent. Whether or not they're thinking the best interest of the team, he's dead wrong. Now, Odell is at the level he's at in terms of frustration because that's how bad his quarterback is. And Mara might be saying, hey, calm down. We just paid you. It's in the middle of the season. You know, we'll fix this. But Odell would have the right to sit there and go, this has been a problem for a while. You haven't fixed it yet. Is Laletta going to be the quarterback? Or are we supposed to lose the rest of this season and draft the guy?
But I think he's also saying, we paid you, so we expect more. Don't go chirping and talking about our team and
Molly,
airing out our dirty laundry.
I go a step further. It's not just that they paid him. They talked to him beforehand, which gives us the impression that an agreement verbally was reached.